All right, so ONNX Edge Working Group meeting, June 19th. We have currently Offer Rosenberg, Vidon View, and Milano Jack dialed in. And so we're gonna start. So agenda, let me share my screen as well, sorry. Share, you guys see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So let me just maybe open our guitar. So our agenda is pretty much the same as the last time. Last time I couldn't make it, but yeah, I saw the notes and everything. And so we are continuing review of the edge scope and profile definition document. And I think both me and Offer made some comments yesterday. I just saw that Yudong made pretty much new commit, right, Yudong?
Yes.
Yeah. So so I think let's see. I mean, what is, again? It seems like because you are the main Yudong, you are main maintainer of this document and all that. So it might make sense for you to kind of drive this as well and go through the document and maybe follow up on any items that may have been left that you wanted to discuss. So last time I think I can, yeah, I saw that remote control, right? I can give you control, right?
Oh. Yes, you can give me.
Yeah, so I just gave you the control of the screen. Okay. So yeah, keep going.
Actually, yeah, I just update the document based on your comment, because your comments are very concrete and very detailed. It's great comments. So I just rephrase or re-sentence my statement based on your comments. Actually, I myself didn't make too many changes, so I just most of my work is just copy paste your comment, what your suggestion is, and change to commit to my document. So I think there's not many for me to talk about, because just like the scope of edge, because you guys suggest broadly speaking, scope of edge can be defined as a blah blah blah, just some phrases of my phrases or sentence. So that's it. So if there is any other sections or items we are left to talk about, we can just talk about here, because I think I have.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So here I was wondering, we are not prohibited to put any kind of drawings or and pictures, right? Because sometimes pictures tell 1,000 words more than paragraphs, right?
Yeah, sure, we can.
So,
just like that, dimension, like that radar chart. Yeah, I remember.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe we should. For example, I thought of let me share this picture. Does this make sense to put in? Let me just share. Can I now move it into the share screen? I guess I can. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
So would something like this make sense to kind of put in a document as a kind of, view of the kind of edge space?
So we can put this in the definition.
I mean, because it's made a statement like, roughly speaking, broadly speaking, the edge scope could be defined.
Yeah. So that is the scope of edge. Yes.
Not cloud, right? I mean,
yeah, not
we
cloud.
are saying that we are talking either about edge devices or we are talking about, infrastructure network edge, where you have people also call it fog, right? And so you know, if people think that this makes sense, we can include this maybe in a document.
So I think maybe what we should do is put these two circles, like surround them in a box and call the box edge.
Yes, yes.
That would make it more, but I think, yeah, it may make sense to put this kind of a drawing. But probably needs to be some kind of a JPEG or so. The question is,
this is PNG right now. I made a PNG out of it. So I mean, it's easy to make PNG out of, you know. This was made in a PowerPoint, but you know, I can save it.
so I'm wondering if you can take it from PowerPoint into a Google Drive. Forgot how they call their PowerPoint equivalent.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
That would allow people to, if they want, they can edit it.
Okay. The question is like, how do we, you know, if you accept this, you know, if anybody wants to change this in the future, you also are saying that it should be a source format, right? That could be edited, right? Instead of if you just embed PNG, then it's kind of frozen in time.
You can embed the PNG, but maybe have a link somewhere so that people can edit it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean that's fine. I can look into how to put this document or this drawing in a Google Drive, or and share it with the audience. And so then you know, I guess you can take it and make PNG and put it into the document, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll take a look into it. So okay, so let's keep moving then on. I'm gonna go back to the document itself.
Yeah, I remember there is another picture in the slides, that dimension chart or radar chart, you guys call that? Yeah, we have something like computation capabilities, some attributes like power consumption and memory limit, bandwidth. So depends on it, different edge scenarios where you have different requirements for edge devices. So some devices requires super low latency, and some devices requires low computation power. So we draw a multi-dimension chart. So can we put that picture into this doc just in the?
Are you talking about the drawing from the workshop?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I guess I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if you move, sorry, we are fighting mouse, it looks like it. Let me move it down a little bit. So here, I made this blurb here. You know, actually, I think I said in computing, I don't think we need edge here, this one. It's just in computing, there are always compromises to be made. And so computing at the edge is no exception. And so we can think of the edge profile attributes as dimensions along which trade-offs are being made in edge scenarios.
Yeah.
And so does that make sense?
Yes, or can we just draw a new picture based on the attributes we discussed here?
Here you're saying that we could introduce that radar chart, whatever we called it.
Yeah.
Example of the what this means. I actually let's open that actually.
Yeah.
Workshops. Talking about this one?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, um, I think it's fine. Do you think that's fine offer as well as illustration?
Yeah, it looks like a good idea. Um,
We just need to we decide to call data locality instead of
Yes, yeah. So
65.
it just yeah, maybe we can draw a new radar chart based on those attributes we have discussed.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm fine. Why don't you don't take this as a oh you don't have the source, right? There is a this is PDF.
I can draw a new one, I think.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can go ahead. Or I can share the drawing with you because I already have it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Can you send me to my email, my personal email?
No, I'll put it on the Google Drive, similar to the
Oh,
other.
that's fine. That's fine. Great.
So you can take it from there. Okay, sounds good. So, okay, going back here. So I will just delete here Edge. I mean, I don't.
Actually, edge computing is no exception because both in computing, edge computing, or cloud computing, or whatever computing, they're
I'm
always
just saying, like, you
compromises.
should delete Edge because I think I made comments saying in computing there are always compromises to be made. Computing at the edge is no exception.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying. And then
Uh,
I was saying that we can think of these attributes as dimensions along which we
all
make.
right, all right, I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think I saw somewhere else. Let me. There was something. I don't know. I saw some typo somewhere. Instead of edge, it was DDG.
Oh, yeah, I changed that typo.
Okay, sounds
I
good.
fixed that. Yeah, I
Okay,
fixed that.
perfect. So, um, do we basically agree that these 5 attributes are sufficient? Well, I think that is because we came to this section here. Do we agree that these 5 attributes are sufficient to define profiles, right? And I'm thinking even it's somewhat tied. It's somewhat tied to to scenarios, right, and use cases. And so, as a part of the profile, we'll be start defining the specific profiles. And then I'm thinking like if during the scope of work of defining some profiles, we realize, oh shoot, we need one more attributes. I think it's okay. We can go back and we can go back and update, right? I mean, this is not necessarily written in stone forever. I mean,
Yes, of course.
so maybe what we can do as an exercise, just to see that it makes sense, the attributes, is unofficially try to just create, map 2 types of edge things, let's call it, into profiles. Let's say, can we clearly describe using these attributes the difference between a router that sits at the edge of an infrastructure versus a smartphone or versus a connected camera? If it's possible for us only using these attributes, then it works. If not, it means that we may be missing something here.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going too. I mean, it could, that could be a good exercise to try. And so we can try. We could maybe have that as a sort of homework assignment for next week to try to map and describe, as you suggested, 2 profiles, which are router maybe and phone, and see if we can clearly delineate 2. I agree. I mean, that could be a good exercise. But again, as I said, I mean, that is only 2, right? We could end up defining 10 more, and then you know, during the process of defining the space, we could encounter something that we cannot clearly describe. And then, you know, at that point in time, we will probably have to make a call. Well, we need to change some of these attributes we specified, right? And then just you know, retrofit basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't spend much time. I did spend some time in the description of these attributes, like and their you know, I didn't spend much time looking deep into description of these. But so maybe that's something that we could also revisit and maybe comment more specifically for the next time, next week. But next week is the last week of the actually not the last week of the month. We technically could. It is actually last Wednesday in June. Yeah. So our goal was to commit and submit the this document by the end of the June, right?
Yes.
I think we are probably in pretty good shape right now, given where we are. To finish that, we can update based on discussion we had today. And so, do you? We need to take action items, so maybe to exercise and try to define 2 profiles using these attributes to see, to, you know, sort of do a test on this space.
So maybe in that sense, just when we describe an attribute, is that quantitative or qualitative? Like when we say size or latency, does it need to be a number or a range of numbers?
I think just a range of number is fine, because we talk about if we want to exercise this, there are so many examples. There are smartphones, drones, sensors, cameras. There are just too many, so we can only give a just like the memory size. We can only give a range of the memory size, starting from maybe 32 GB to 255 GB, something like this. So my suggestion is that we go for quantity over quality.
Come again? Sorry, I didn't get that last piece. Go to for what?
Quantity over qualities. Yeah, we don't need to be that accurate in. Yeah, just in this talk, we don't need to be that accurate, but at least we must give some examples, give the range of these data, of the attributes, and we can discuss based on these ranges, and that's it.
Okay. Okay, so part of the profile definition that we also discussed is really also operation subset, and sort of models. Did we mention anywhere the kind of representative networks or models to be used?
Not yet, but I think there are. I mentioned in the something like in the edge scenario, I guess.
Also in the motivation part, so we're not talking about which networks, but in the motivation part, it connects between profile, scenario, and models. So the list of actual models should not be part of this document, because in my view, it should be part of a specific document to a specific profile.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes, yes. Or have a document that is really collection of profile definitions, right? I mean,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be separate document per profile. Is that, I mean, it, but you know what I mean. I mean, it could be a single document which has sections that are describing profiles.
Yeah. So just for an example, because there are, for image classification, there are so many models solving this one problem. But if you want to talk about the pros and cons of each model, that will be a pretty big work.
I mean that in context of splitting up the work and across to Offer's point, individual profiles could be separate documents in discussion material.
Yes, I agree with that.
And once you maybe make it official, I would imagine we would collect all these into single document and make it into the artifacts, like as kind of conclusion or collection of everything. Because here in discussion material we are doing this, using this space as for these reviews, but then once we make the commitment to actual, we agree, we completed that work, we make it into the sorry, I'm moving this too quickly. We are making it into the artifacts, right? And then I would imagine there'll be, so once now that we finish this work, the document from the discussion materials we should have a version of the document or master version that we agreed on here as a completed, and then move on to next one. So once we, and then we go back to the discussion materials, and then if you want to divvy up the work amongst us as for the definition of the profiles, then that could be multiple documents here for the individual profiles to discuss. But then once we finalize everything, I would think we would collect all these profiles, individual profiles, into a single document. But that's just my kind of thinking. But it doesn't have to be.
Makes sense.
So, okay. So I think for the next time, I guess next week we should. Obviously add these drawings that we discussed. We should do one more pass on the whole document, make comments as necessary again. And then somebody, okay, so how about we do exercise.
I can take the action item to try and map them.
Use the test exercise, right? To sort of define two profiles and say, here's what we mean, right? And how we can describe it. But again, this is as to the attributes. I don't know if we want to go into the whole thing here.
No, just to see that the existing attributes can help us describe two different types of edge profiles and do good coverage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Okay. So here, I see one thing that here on data locality, I did make one comment that I'm not sure. I see you didn't take it, but I was wondering, should we make some general statement on data locality? How do I say this? Show conversation. Oh, here. So I was thinking, like, should we add a sentence here at the beginning saying that data locality is tightly connected with data privacy and service scenario. Because the following paragraphs are talking really about security.
And security, yes.
And it's like, you know, it seems like to me that having a sentence here that says establishes that as a context would be good. So okay, that's fine. I feel that was just suggestion from me. If people think it's not necessary, it's fine. But in general, I think I would like to make one more pass on this text and the description of these attributes to establish the maybe, if necessary, any changes. But as to any new attributes, I don't see any kind of currently need for new attributes. So okay. So what else do we want? I mean, obviously, we don't need to spend a whole hour here in talking about the document if there are no specific things to talk about anymore. Should we then make action items and kind of reconvene and say so next week?
Sounds good to me.
You
Yeah,
done?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Well, that was, you know, sort of short and sweet. So I will now let's close it and then meet again next Wednesday with action items and changes that we identified. I'll follow up with the meeting minutes and recording. I will post it up after this meeting. First recording and then minutes afterwards, and then we'll meet again next Wednesday. Sounds good?
Great.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.